This is Christopher John Bjerknes. It is September 10th, 2023. On my Twitter account, I have been posting about my theories as to why Elon Musk may have changed the name from Twitter to X. And I have some theories about that. I'd like to explain them more thoroughly, which I can best do in the form of this video. I'd like to thank all the kind, generous, and wonderful people who have contributed to make this video possible. Thank you for the Bitcoin. That was extremely helpful. That really saved me. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, John Geraitis, for your ongoing contributions. I'm deeply grateful to all of you and to all the others who have been contributing to keep me going and make these videos possible. You can contribute in the links in the description below, as well as at my website, CJBBooks.com, where you will also find all of my books for sale. I suppose I should give everyone a happy Xmas in advance, and I'm going to explain where that expression Xmas comes from. X was originally the letter chi in Greek, and chi is the first letter in the name Christ. Christ is the Greek version of the word Mashiach, meaning one who is anointed. So let's get into studying why it is that Elon Musk may have renamed Twitter X. And did he in fact mean the Greek letter chi, as in Christos? Chi, rho, iota, sigma, tau, omicron, sigma, like our S. In the early 300s, the Christian convert, Emperor Constantine, created a symbol to represent Christos, to represent Christ. And he constructed this symbol out of the letters chi rho, representing chi rho, almost like an initial for Christos. And that was later shortened simply to chi, which to us looks like the Latin letter X. And Constantine created a shield to represent Christianity out of chi rho. And he also put the letters alpha and omega on it to represent the beginning and end of the Greek alphabet, because Jesus Christ said that he was the alpha and the omega to represent the beginning and the end. Very tellingly, you can also form a Star of David out of the symbol that Constantine created. You have the triangle as above, and you have the triangle so below. And I believe that was all by design. So eventually, this chi simply became an X, as in Xmas, as in Malcolm X. So when Malcolm X was calling himself X, he was referring to Mashiach. He was calling himself the Messiah, the Christos. Elon Musk has recently posed in a costume which portrays him as the Antichrist. You can see the inverted cross and the goat's head of Remphan, of Baphomet, representing Samael, Satan, the Antichrist. You can see that his icon for his emoji for his Twitter feed is almost an inversion of what the X would represent as Christos, making it the anti-Christos. Christ was always destined to return as the Antichrist. So it could be that Elon Musk is portraying himself in his Twitter icon as the Antichrist. And it could be that Twitter is either been renamed Christ, as in Kai, as in Christos, or as Antichrist, as the returned Christ. And as I have been proving for a very long time now, the plan all along, as revealed by the Gospel of Judas, as revealed by the Apocalypse of Abraham, as revealed by the Kabbalists, Abraham Abulafia, the Kabbalistic works, Sefer HaKeteret and Sefer HaMashiv, all prove that the Christ is to return as the Antichrist. Now, Elon Musk is evidently quite knowledgeable about Kabbalah and occult beliefs, and I wonder if he's aware of that plan for the Christ to return as the Antichrist. And again, the X in Xmas represents Christmas, Christmas. So it is a representation of the Greek letter Chi. Elon Musk again famously wore that Antichrist costume. And it's very interesting. I wonder if that X is Chi and represents either Christ or the Antichrist, or if Elon Musk is reserving Antichrist just for himself in his logo, his emoji on his Twitter account with his hundreds of millions of followers. It'd be funny if his followers were ever to discover if it is indeed the case that he is representing himself as the Antichrist, unbeknownst to them. It would also be very interesting if in the logos for Twitter and for Elon Musk, that Chi has in the middle of it what could be a serpent. And in the Twitter logo, it could be the serpent of light, which is this serpent on the caduceus, and this wing of the caduceus. A bird needs two wings to fly, so there has to be light and darkness. Darkness cannot be recognized as darkness unless there is light, and light cannot be recognized as light unless there is darkness. And then in Elon Musk's logo, perhaps this signifies the serpent of darkness. So we would then have the serpent of light and the serpent of darkness, both of them crossed as the serpent's cross on the caduceus. What leads me to suspect that Elon Musk is quite familiar with Kabbalah and with occultism is that a friend sent me this clipping from the book of a very famous Kabbalist and occultist, Thomas Carlson. And in the acknowledgments which are published within that book, Carlson was grateful to N. Elon Musk. Since it's such an unusual name, I wonder if that represents the Elon Musk who owns Twitter. Last, but certainly not least, I also want to thank Elon Musk for his extraordinary draconian and Faustian work and ambitions. That's the key word, ambitions. So what are Elon Musk's ambitions? Elon Musk wants to set up a community on the planet Mars. He wants to establish a city. He is engineering spacecraft which could facilitate travel from the Earth, which on the Sephirotic Tree of Life is the Sephirah Malkut. And these spacecraft would venture like the lightning bolt back to Gavura. Gavura is the planet Mars. And that's very, very, very significant in occultism and in Kabbalah. Let me get out of the way a bit here. There we go, finally. Sorry about that. In Kabbalah, the Sephirah Gavura is the fifth emanation. The light of Adam Kadmon entered the vessel of the crown Keter. It then emanated to the vessel Chokhmah, wisdom. Keter is the crown, Chokhmah is wisdom, forming a phallus. It then was emanated from Chokhmah to Binah, which is understanding, forming a triangular womb. So the Godhead, Keter, the androgynous Adam Kadmon, separated into its male aspect, which then released and emanated its female aspect. It created its phallus, and then it created its womb, just as Adam was separated into his androgynous components, Adam and Eve, because he was created in the image of the gods, who are all androgynous. Back here is the 11th hidden Sephirah, and that is Deat, representing knowledge. So we have wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, the three most prominent attributes of God in the Old Testament. Deat is represented by a black cube in the Tefillin, and in much lore, as I've been explaining, in modern ufology and in science fiction. Deat is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it is also representative of a prism. The divine realm of the upper three Sephirot contain only pure white light. When that white light is transmitted across the abyss, it passes through the prism of knowledge, Deat, and is separated into the rainbow of the spectral colors. So we had the light, according to Kabbalistic mythology, emanate from Keter to Chokhmah to Binah, down to Chesed, the planet Jupiter, and then across over to the planet Mars. That makes the planet Mars the fifth emanation, which is very significant because that forms the pentagram. When you cut an apple in half, or when you cut a pomegranate in half, both of which are considered fruits signifying the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Deat, it forms a pentagram out of the 5 seeds. Apple, Elam in Latin, represents evil. So the fifth emanation, Gevurah, represents evil. It is the red planet, the planet of war, the planet of Satan, of Samael, the archangel, the fallen angel. Samael resides on the planet Saturn and just so happens to be the Antichrist. It is also called Din, signifying judgment and punishment. Gevurah, signifying the power of Satan, the divine power that Satan, Samael, wields in the form of temptation, accusation, prosecution, and divine punishment. That punishment is exacted upon the non-Israelites for the sins of the Israelites, as I've explained many times, during the Yom Kippur ritual, in which a scapegoat is given to Samael, which confuses him and allows the Israelites to obtain chesed, mercy, from the Lord. Well, the non-Israelites are unjustly accused, prosecuted, and punished for sins they didn't commit, which were in fact committed by the Israelites. It is also significant to note that when a Kabbalist attempts the epistrophe, the return back to Keter, to the crown, to become a righteous prophet, he must first ascend through 5 Sephirot to reach Gevurah. So Gevurah is the 5th emanation in the descent of the emanations, and it is the 5th of the epistrophe, of the return back. So again, it represents 5. 5 represents the pentagram. The pentagram represents Samael, the male aspect of Satan, and Lilith, the female aspect of Satan. So it's very interesting that Elon Musk would want to form a human community on the planet Mars. It would be Elon Musk's kingdom, his city, and his planet X. X as in Christos, X as in Messiah, Messiah son of Joseph, who is Samael. The Christ is the Antichrist. This concept of forming an outpost on Mars and utilizing it to explore other planets was instigated by the famous German rocket scientist Wernher von Braun in his book Das Mars-Projekt. And in that book, he said eventually the sun would destroy the Earth or itself be destroyed, and that human beings had better prepare for that millions or billions of years in advance. And one of the ways they could prepare for that is to set up an outpost on Mars and then explore planetary systems outside of our solar system. So Musk's idea is not unique or original, but I don't recall Wernher von Braun ever donning a suit portraying him as the Antichrist. Von Braun's book was written in 1948, I think published a few years after that. And he was very, very influential in setting up the V2 rocket system and America and NASA and America's project to land men on the moon, which is Yesod. So let's go over some of that history again to really bring it home. In the early 300s, the Emperor Constantine created an emblem containing the letters Chi Rho. Chi to us looks like an X, Rho looks like an R. Also known as Chrismon, is one of the earliest forms of Christogram, formed by superimposing the first two capital letters, Chi and Rho, of the Greek word Christos, Chi, Rho, Iota, Sigma, Tau, Omicron, Sigma, in such a way that the vertical stroke of the Rho intersects the center of the Chi, forming a Star of David, an encrypted star. And this was also like the Egyptian hieroglyph and other symbols representing stars. The Chi Rho symbol was used by the Roman Emperor Constantine as part of a military standard, vexillum. Constantine's standard was known as the labarum. You can see how it looks like a star image, very much in Egyptian iconography. This appears all over the place. This is the Wikipedia page for that labarum. The labarum was a vexillum, military standard, so it was a weapon of war. Christianity was a weapon of war that displayed the Chi Rho symbol, a Christogram formed from the first two Greek letters of the word Christ. It was first used by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, who was very influential and instrumental in subverting the Europeans with the weapon of war, Christianity, which has caused so much harm to humanity ever since. This is the Wikipedia page for Xmas, which has generated very significant controversy over many decades. People think that it represents the secularization of Christmas. And what it really represents is Christ returning as the Antichrist, as the letter Chi. And that has been a long process. Xmas is a common abbreviation of the word Christmas. Remember that Christmas forms Christ Mass, a Mass celebrating Christ. It is sometimes pronounced Xmas, and variants such as Xmas originated as handwriting abbreviations for the typical pronunciation Christmas. The X comes from the Greek letter chi, which looks like an X, for which is the first letter of the Greek word Christos, anointed, covered in oil, Mashiach, Messiah, which became Christ in English. The suffix Mass is from the Latin-derived Old English word for Mass. Early use of Xmas includes Bernard Ward's History of St. Edmund's College, Old Hall, originally published 1755. An earlier version, Xmas, dates to 1551. Around 1100, the term was written as Expes Mese in the Old Saxon Chronicle. So this has been around for quite a while, and this was adopted by Malcolm X, who was covertly calling himself Malcolm the Messiah, Malcolm the Antichrist. The Christ returned as the Antichrist. This is the page from SpaceX.com, human spaceflight Mars. This has been all over the news. Elon posts, or those related to Elon post on Twitter about this city that he wants to form on Mars and what it should be named, things like that. They're building up all kinds of hype to fulfill Werner von Braun's dream of an outpost on Mars to serve as a launching pad for further exploration, interstellar exploration out into the vast universe. But it's uniquely Elon Musk who wore the Antichrist outfit with the inverted cross and Remphan, Moloch, Baphomet, the pentagram emblazoned upon his chest. So I wonder if that's what X is all about. I wonder, does it represent the letter Chi or the letter X? Does it represent the Mashiach, the anointed one? And would that anointed one be an anointed high priest, an anointed prophet, the anointed Antichrist, or the anointed Messiah, son of David? These are all open questions. I'm just throwing this out there to get people thinking and talking about it. Again, I want to thank all the people who contributed. You really saved me, and I'm extremely grateful to you. This video would not have been made without your help. And anyone who would like to contribute, again, there will be contribution links in the description below, as well as a link to my website, CJBBooks.com, where you'll find my books for sale. Thank everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. I think I'm going to do a follow-up video on my interview with Joseph Atwill, who wrote the famous book, Caesar's Messiah. I've been researching those issues for a very long time, and I have a chapter about that in my book, Manufacture and Sale of Saint Einstein. And I think I'm gonna do a video next about those findings. So please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss that. And I'll see you then. Bye for now, everyone.